tips. So the day before yesterday, I was on Twitch streaming on my channel, twitch.tv/tipsoutbaby, and we were talking on stream about the classic WoW progression model. I drew a little infographic in Paint showing how I thought classic WoW progression differed from modern WoW progression. Somebody clipped what I was talking about for a second, and the clip went pretty viral. It got like 50,000 views in a day, which is pretty crazy. Didn't expect that to happen. Didn't think we were saying anything like unnatural or anything like that. I figured since a lot of you guys seem to be interested.
Let me show you guys that clip real quick. And does anybody have a link to that? Because, you know what? I think I can probably find it easily. No, I can't, because I'm dumb. It's basically like tips showing like the character progression that like somebody has. Like, I don't know how I'd be able to find it easily. McCollum, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, when he made the chart and this, like, it was like, this was awesome, this sucks. That?
Open his channel and click clips. Okay, that's a really good idea. Yeah, let me just look right there. Catch me live. Okay, let's open up his channel. Make sure to follow tips, by the way. Okay. Just close that. And 7 days. So this is the clip that he's talking about. World of Warcraft retail versus classic.
Hugely problematic. Hugely problematic. What happens is you start the game. You're leveling up. There's the stat squish, so you're not getting any power.
Yep.
And then, boom, the last 10 levels left, you shoot up, you skyrocket in power until you get right to the end, and then it's incredibly difficult to get better gear because of the Titan Forging BS.
This is exactly what happens in Diablo 2.
Whereas in Vanilla WoW, you know, you slowly but surely, get proportionally more powerful every level, proportionally more powerful. There's very little power creep until the very end in like AQ and Nax, but that's about it. The yellow line is so much more satisfying. This satisfying. This
not satisfying.
Sucks. Okay.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
And that's the clip that he was talking about, just so you guys know the context.
Interested in the subject of classic WoW progression, I would talk about it in this video today, titled Why It Was Great, Classic WoW Progression Formula. Now, typically my Why It Was Great series, I do them in a very pre-scripted, kind of meditated, scripted, you know, just completely pre-designed and produced format. I'm not going to do that today, so please don't expect the same quality that you typically get from my videos. I'm going to be a little erratic here, I'm going to be all over the place. Just want to throw that out as a quick disclaimer, but I don't want to waste your time any more than I already have. Let's go ahead and get started. So, before we can understand what the classic WoW progression model is, we first need to understand what progression is in general. And the best statement I can say to summarize progression is the following. Progression is the journey from a nameless adventurer to a renowned champion. Essentially the journey of a noob becoming elite player, going all the way to the top, grinding hard, gaining armor, gaining levels, gaining talents, gaining abilities, gaining whatever power he or she can in order to become a renowned champion. It is this giant quest from zero to hero.
Everybody wants to be a champion.
It's also a fundamental RPG concept. No matter what RPG you play, not just MMORPGs, no matter what RPG you play, you will see this same concept implemented therein. Every game, from Baldur's Gate to Skyrim to Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, all of the classic RPGs and MMORPGs of today seemingly have this concept, or at least try to have this concept, but unfortunately, I think a lot of them fall short. The sense of progression, the progression formula in classic WoW is one thing that I think a lot of people don't talk about when talking about classic WoW's greatness. I think it plays a huge role as to why classic is so good. We'll talk about that in just a little bit.
Also, no transmog back then either.
Why is progression important to MMORPGs and RPGs in general? Well, first and foremost, progression creates a sense of growth in a player's mind, a sense of development in a player's mind. I feel like I'm getting stronger over time. And with growth comes investment. When you work on something, guys, I don't care if it's video games, I don't care if it's real life, studies, whatever it is, when you start to grow in something that you're pursuing, when you're becoming better at it or stronger at it, you start to become more and more invested in that thing. And when you become more invested in that thing, you start to feel a sense of achievement. The longer you do something, the more invested you are into that thing, you will start to accomplish goals.
I didn't want to pause it, but I just wanted to say one thing that's really important, which is what he's saying, a sense of achievement. A sense of achievement is something that is internal. Giving someone an achievement is something that is external. Blizzard has traded out the external or internal rewards that people would achieve themselves and that internal fulfillment and investment with external rewards that Blizzard gives to them. It's the difference between an internal reward versus external reward. Sense of achievement is what really mattered. The sense of it, the internal feeling that you had.
Undeniably, you will start to accomplish goals, whether it be fitness goals or video game goals or something like that. The longer you're invested in something, the more goals you will achieve. And the more goals you achieve, the more you will continue doing that thing that you are doing. Whether it be playing video games, whether it be fitness, whether it be anything in life, studies, again, anything in life. The longer you are doing that thing, the more invested you are in doing it, the more goals you accomplish in it, the less likely you will leave that thing, whatever it is.
So I'm never going to quit.
This is like basic human psychology 101, carrot on a stick. I mean, I'm not saying anything new or revolutionary here. This is just basic human psychology. So now that we understand why progression is important, it's time to see how the classic WoW team, the vanilla WoW developers, tackled progression and what their philosophy was behind their progression systems in vanilla. So let's talk about the classic WoW progression philosophy. So number one, progression is moderately exponential in classic WoW, but it's mostly linear. Meaning that over the course of time, the growth that you achieve with your character is proportional to how much time you put into the game. There's very rarely any big progression spikes where all of a sudden, you know, boom, you're really, really strong. You're a lot stronger than you were just one level ago. Doesn't really happen in classic WoW. It's a lot more linear, which is one of the reasons why you guys may have seen clips of like level 40 twinks killing level 60s out in the world or something like that. That is because there is no big exponential jump in the classic
maybe
WoW
like level 17
process.
hunters.
And kind of going hand in hand with that, the progression is incremental,
24 druids,
yet impactful. Every level you gain gives you a small incremental boost, whether it be in the form of a talent point or a couple of new abilities. Instead of waiting for specific thresholds or specific level brackets to boost your power up tremendously. Doesn't work like that in vanilla. It's very slow, it's very incremental, it's very over time. But at the same time, you also have some major milestones that are sprinkled in for variety and to keep things interesting. And some of the milestones I'm talking about are things like talent milestones. The first level 30 talent you get, the 21-point talent you get at level 30.
That was
your
like
level
your capstone
40
talent.
That's also a big milestone in your character. You have ability milestones, like for example, you know, getting the ability Whirlwind at level 36. It's a huge deal for warriors. It's a big milestone because it's your first instant attack ability. And finally, most importantly, in my opinion, you are rewarded proportionally to the effort given in the game.
Proportionally.
What does that mean? It means if you put X hours into the game, you are rewarded with Y power. And that relationship is direct and proportional. The more time you put into the game, the more effort you put into the game, the more you are rewarded. There are basically no shortcuts. There is no way to somehow gain a vast amount of power in Classic WoW without putting the time and effort into it. There's no Titan forging, there's no LFR. There is nothing that is going to reward you disproportionately to the effort that you've put into the game. It's a very important concept. It has to do with exclusivity and a lot of other stuff in games, but to me, this is the most important one. But if you look at this graph here, I've titled it the Classic WoW Character Progression Chart. You will see on the x-axis, we have the playtime elapsed, how long you've played the game in /days played. And on the y-axis, we have power gain. And I put this in generic units. I mean, those numbers could be anything. Don't worry about it too much. The important thing to look at is the curve of this graph. The longer you play the game, the more power you will gain in a mostly linear, slightly exponential format. And that's what we're seeing here in this graph. As we said, the rewards you get, the power you gain, is rewarded proportionally to the effort you put into the game. Now, what does that power come in the form of? Incremental gains, as we mentioned before. Things like +1 talent point per level. Things like +5 weapon skills per weapon per level. This is something a lot of people don't talk about too much. Gaining small things like your defense skill. Your defense skill. I mean, do people even know what that is anymore? You had a defense skill back in vanilla. Every class used to have this.
I hated that.
And you would gain +5 defense skill, or you could level +5 more defense skill every level in vanilla. You also gain new abilities every 2 levels. You're able to go back to your class trainer and purchase new abilities every 2 levels. On top of that, you get new class quests every 10 levels. Again, another little incremental power gain. Class quests usually unlock new class abilities. They unlock sometimes new weapons. Sometimes they unlock demons like warlocks, and sometimes they unlock mounts like warlocks and paladins. So again, just another small thing that helps your character become stronger over time. So what do these incremental gains look like in the actual game? Well, here's a graph. But basically what you're seeing right now is all of the different incremental progression that's gained on a level-by-level basis from level 10 to level 30.
It's not the crazy shit we have now.
At level 10, you unlock your first talent point. You get your level 10 class quest.
It's an actual
graph. You get 6 new abilities. You get +5 weapon skill, +5 defense, and you get to train different weapons. This is, of course, for warriors. I should have specified that before. This is specific to warriors. Every class has a slightly different number of abilities they get per level. At level 18, you get a big gear milestone, for example. If you are an orc warrior, you unlock the crescent staff,
of the
which
helmet?
is a big deal. Changes how much damage you do significantly in the game. Very big gear milestone for warriors. At level 20, you get your 20 class quest, and you unlock dual wielding, which again is another big milestone. You get your level 20 class quest, which is the brutal armor quest line, and so on and so forth. All of these small incremental gains, more talent points, more abilities, etc. Until obviously at level 30, you get your major talent milestone, your 21-point talent, which will probably be used for sweeping strikes, which is a major ability. More abilities, so on and so forth. Your level 30 class quests, obviously getting your berserker stance, and your major weapon milestone, getting your whirlwind axe. These are of the many different incremental gains that you gain as you're leveling up in vanilla from 1 to 30. So we talked about classic WoW's progression philosophy, and I showed you guys a couple of visuals to supplement what I was telling you. Now we're going to talk about modern WoW progression philosophy. Spoiler alert, it freaking sucks, man. But let's go into the progression philosophy slide. In modern WoW, it is grossly exponential, which means that at some points during the progression path, you absolutely spike up in power. There is no linearity whatsoever. Nothing is proportional. You just spike up at certain thresholds, at certain level brackets. Grossly exponential. Number 2, progress is only felt at spread out milestones. There's no talent points except the ones that you get every 15 levels.
Oh, wow.
You don't purchase abilities at vendors anymore, and your abilities don't even upgrade.
Purchase
your abilities
at the store.
get stronger over time, but you can't even really notice it, honestly. There are very few milestones, very, very few milestones. And the milestones that you do reach hardly affect gameplay because everything dies instantly anyways. And a lot of that has to do with how easy leveling is in retail WoW today. Things roll over and die like that. So even when you hit level 65 as a warrior, for example, and you get your Bladestorm ability, well, guess what? You were already knocking things down in 2 hits anyways. So that Bladestorm, its effect isn't really felt. It doesn't change the way you play the game in the same way that getting Whirlwind at level 36 changes the way you play the game in vanilla.
Didn't have any AoE
and finally,
my
biggest grievance with modern World of Warcraft, you are rewarded disproportionately to the effort given. Meaning that sometimes you don't have to put a lot of effort into the game and you are just rewarded crazy amounts via LFR, Titan Forging, stuff like that. And then at the same time, sometimes you put a grossly large amount of effort into the game and you're not rewarded at all. And again, Titan Forging plays into that a lot. Imagine you having to run the same dungeon over and over again, not able to get an upgrade, no matter how many times you've done that Mythic Keystone or that dungeon because of the RNG systems in the game. What does that look like? This. As you can see, for your first couple of days playing the game, you are basically moving sideways. You're barely gaining any power. You're barely gaining any talents. You're not really getting anything at all in terms of power gains. Until, boom, after about 72 hours played, 3 days played, you're getting ready to hit max level. You hit the level 110 threshold, and you just fly ahead. You just become so much stronger relative to what you were before until you hit level 120. And on top of that, at level 120, you get all of your super fast gear upgrades, your 340 item levels from your chest. You do all of the different dailies. You kill your world bosses that first week. And you are sitting at, like, let's say item level 350, for example. From here on out, from 350 onwards, things change dramatically. And unfortunately, at this point onwards, you are no longer rewarded proportionally. You are still disproportionately rewarded, except on the other side of the spectrum. You're putting way too much time into the game for very, very marginal upgrades. Maybe the occasional +5 Titan Forge, +10 Titan Forge, something like that. You're having to grind a significant amount just to get very, very small gains. And guys, I don't need to say this. I know you guys are thinking it right now. This feels like crap. Does not feel rewarding. Does not feel satisfying at all. There are no incremental gains. I mean, it's just like...
I just want to stop real quick and talk about one thing, is that I do think this graph does make a little bit of sense, but I don't think that it caps out this early. I think that it would cap out somewhere around like normal mode progression, and then the gains are like much more tapered off. Like as soon as you get up to like normal between like heroic, the amount of progress that you make after that is very, very small compared to the amount of progress that you make in this period right here. I don't think it's this pronounced, but it is closer to this than it is the classic graph.
Like you're getting nothing and then boom, you're getting everything, and then boom, you're getting nothing again. Instead of getting 1 talent point every level, you get 1 talent point every 15 levels. Instead of getting new abilities every 2 levels, you only get your abilities once. You don't have to go to the trainer for them. And then after that, they upgrade by themselves, and you don't even notice when they do. It doesn't even tell you, oh my god, your Whirlwind got stronger, or your Mortal Strike got stronger. You have no idea. You won't even notice. And of course, there are no more class quests in the game. So that Whirlwind axe, no. There are no new armor types. You can't unlock plate. You already get that at level 1. There's no weapon training to unlock. You don't have to unlock your dual wielding ability for a rogue at level 10. You don't have to train your hunter pet. You don't have to unlock your warlock pets, I think, or at least some of them. You don't have to unlock them anymore. You don't have to do a quest.
You don't have to do any of that shit, dude.
But if you do reach a milestone,
no,
you don't even
of course
feel
not.
it, because the mobs that you're killing out in the world are so easy to kill anyways. You don't have to use these newfound abilities, this newfound power to take them down.
And they scale.
Because again, they just freaking roll over and die. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to use your freaking Death Wish or your Battle Cry or whatever cooldowns you have in the game, because the mobs are dying in 2 shots anyways. So how do the modern WoW incremental upgrades manifest themselves in the game? Well, here's a chart. And right away, I'm sure you guys noticed the difference between this chart and the classic WoW chart. Very few incremental upgrades. Again, you no longer have talent points every level. You no longer have abilities every 2 levels. You no longer have your weapon skill. You no longer have defense. You no longer have class quests. There are so many things that are missing from this chart. I'm sure some of you guys are looking at this saying, well, Tips, this is unfair. You compared 1 to 30 in Vanilla WoW to 1 to 30 in BFA, but 1 to 30 in Vanilla WoW takes a lot longer. You should compare apples to apples.
That is true.
For those of you that are criticizing this chart, don't worry, I've got you covered, because I've actually done this same exercise, taking it all the way to level 90 instead of level 30. Depending on your skill level in Vanilla, your experience in Vanilla, it'll probably take you around 40-ish hours, 45 hours to reach level 30, especially if you're new at the game. And approximately that same amount of time will get you to level 90 in BFA. These are just guesstimates, so to speak. So getting to level 90, you only unlock 11 abilities in Battle for Azeroth versus over 50 abilities that you unlock in Classic WoW. This is for Warriors. You only unlock 6 talent points versus 21 that you unlock in Classic WoW by level 30. You get 0 class quests, 0 weapon skills, 0 defense, 0 weapon training, 0 armor type upgrades.
Defense isn't even in the game.
You get no significant milestones.
There's no defense
beyond a couple
anymore.
Of abilities that, again, are worthless.
You just take the
because
hits,
you're already killing things
not.
in 2 shots anyways. You don't feel the impact of those abilities at all.
About 2 shots?
So when we put these 2 charts head to head as we have here, you can clearly see the difference. You can clearly see why Classic WoW's progression feels so much better than BFA's progression. Every single level you gain comes with something new, whether it be a talent point, an ability, you know, getting your Whirlwind axe. You know, every class has a different slate of milestones. Getting that big level 30 talent point, that's a huge one for a lot of classes. You feel your character slowly journeying from that nameless adventure to that renowned
The journey
champion.
Is what matters,
You feel
dude.
it happening
There it
slowly.
is.
You take it in. You feel that growth.
Look at the
and
graphs.
It makes you more and more invested in your character. There is no solid progression formula in modern WoW. You don't feel like you're developing. You don't feel like you're growing. You could go 40 levels. You don't even feel it. You have no idea. You've got like no abilities. It's absolutely crazy. And when you see these 2 charts side by side,
it's
you
not
see
wrong.
the difference. I mean,
really not.
Holy God! In one game, it actually feels like an RPG. And the other game, it feels like you're playing some like max level action MMO. And maybe that's what modern WoW is today, and that's totally fine, but that scratches a very, very different itch from classic WoW and the traditional MMORPG experience. And again, I'm not trying to bash Blizzard here or criticize the game.
Why not?
This is more of a thank God for classic WoW type of video, not so much a bashing BFA video. So again, seeing them side by side, it's very easy to see why classic WoW breeds so much more character investment than modern WoW. And finally, these are the two graphs that I showed in the beginning, side by side. This is the graph that I basically created on stream the other day in Paint. This is the one that went kind of viral. As you can see, the classic WoW progression formula versus BFA progression, starkly different approaches. Classic WoW, very linear. You're rewarded proportionally per level, whereas BFA, it's exponential. There's a huge spike at max level. Your character basically grows nothing, then grows insane, and then grows basically nothing again.
Yeah.
Incredibly, incredibly frustrating. I don't think it appeals to basic human psychology. No, I think the carrot on the stick is not placed properly at all. I think it's horribly paced. But yeah, this is the graph that went viral, so I figured I'd include it here. So in conclusion, what are we rambling about here? In conclusion, classic WoW's progression model is excellent because it rewards players incrementally and at a good pace, increasing player development, investment, and sense of achievement. That is why it is great. And unfortunately, modern WoW's progression model is poor because there is very little incremental character growth and power gains are virtually unfelt until max level, leaving players uninvested and unsatisfied in their characters, resulting in less retention. I think people are leaving the game during the leveling process because they do not feel invested in their characters.
It doesn't matter.
I feel a lot more invested in like a level 21 character that I played on vanilla than my max level 120 character that I've had since vanilla. And I think that's really, really sad. And again, I don't think this is because of nostalgia. I don't think this is because I played World of Warcraft back in the day and I'm fond of it. I just think on a basic human psychology level, the way you are rewarded in classic WoW is more appealing than the way you are rewarded in modern WoW. But what do you guys think? Forget me, I'm just rambling here. It's frickin' 8:56 a.m. I've got to fire up my stream. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear from you guys on this topic. Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I will read them all, and I will go over them on stream too. So don't worry, you will be heard. I will read your comments.
I should do that on mine.
I love talking about game design, especially MMO game design. Stuff like this just frickin' floats my boat. So I will definitely be checking out all of your comments. But thank you for watching this video, guys. Again, not my typical quality. I've got this headset on. I can barely hear myself. There's something going on outside. I'm incredibly distracted. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. And if you guys would like to see more videos like this, or you'd like to see more of me, please follow me on the social media listed below: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and of course, join the Discord channel. But aside from that, have a wonderful day, fellas. See you guys on Twitch. And as always, tips out, baby.
Good video. It was. Let's give him a like, boys. Let's give him a like. I'll link it to you guys so we can go. There we go, guys. Everybody give him a like. It's a great video. I know a lot of people were like trying to roast on him for using PowerPoint. Like, why? Like, what's wrong with PowerPoint? Now everybody, nobody in here went to middle school. Like, give me a fucking break. All you guys have done this shit. You know about PowerPoint. It's not a big deal. I honestly think what he's done here is great. I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing that he did. What do you think about it, McConnell? You like it?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, so the points that he was making, is it like, so what he's saying, what did you guys think about the video? Like, right now, before I even get into any more of, like, my own opinions, what did you guys think about the video? I'll do this one more time.
I think he's big brain.
Big brain.
I think that's it was a 200 IQ video. I think he's completely right, and I really I agree with the sentiment. I just think it was way better in classic, at least the power progression anyway.
I completely agree with that. Like, you look at it right now, and like you make almost no progression in your character between levels 20 to 90. It's meaningless, and I feel like that should be changed. Like, they should stagger it out in a better way. And the stat squish basically created that and made that a problem. And before the stat squish, it was still bad, but it wasn't really as bad. And also, if you guys didn't realize this, what he was saying actually builds into my point that I was trying to make about the heirloom gear and not being invested in your character.
Yep.
Right now, like, there's no investment at all. Like, the words that he was using, the things that he was saying, that's the shit that I've been trying to talk about, man. That's what we've been waiting for. That's what we've been looking for. So Glass comes out, like, he hasn't played retail. Well, I mean, like, he's played retail enough. Like, obviously, like, are there some things that I would argue are, like, kind of wrong? Like, yeah, sure, whatever. But for the most part, I think that, like, his general, like, analysis is correct, even though the numbers might not be accurate. Does that make sense? Where if I don't want to spend months on only leveling? Well, okay, so what is the difference for you, personally, between playing leveling and doing max level content? Because I think that, like, once you break that down, then everything else starts to make a little bit more sense, right? Is it that you don't get a chance to do raids because you're able to do plenty of other group content at low levels? Like, what is it about leveling that you don't like? What is it about leveling your Azurite necklace or leveling your, what do you call it? Leveling your artifact weapon that is different than leveling your character in WoW? Like, what actually is it specifically? And think about that, and I think that'll help you understand, like, where your perspective really is. Because there's a lot of different things about Classic too at the same time. You paint a picture? Yeah, I thought it was a good video. I definitely did. Leveling is too easy? I think it's too easy, and then also the reason why people give up on it right now is it's just, like, super monotonous. Like, there's just nothing that you really get out of leveling. It doesn't really feel like engaging. It doesn't feel like you're making any progress. People want to be where everybody is the fastest way possible. They want everything since they're paying a subscription. So you think that because someone pays a subscription, that Blizzard should advance their character to the same point that everybody else is at the expense of making the game better. So it's actually, like, what you're saying there is actually a very short-sighted perspective, and I'm going to say why. Basically, what's going to happen if you do that is that you're going to be, you truncate the experience down to the last 10% of it. And a lot of the players, because they haven't really spent the rest 90% of the time understanding the game, they won't be able to understand and get fulfillment out of the last 10% because they don't really understand it fundamentally, right? That's the issue. So I don't think that's true at all. Leveling is part of the fun. Yeah, I think that leveling should be part of the game. I think leveling is something that's very casual friendly because any casual player can understand leveling. It's very simple. It's very easy to deal with. Like, you just level up your character. There's nothing complicated or hard about understanding that at all. And that's why I've always thought leveling should be a good portion of the game for casual players. Absolutely. In vanilla, you progress your character while you're leveling, and now you progress your character while you hit max level. But you also progress your character whenever you hit max level in vanilla too. I would view that as, like, kind of a net loss. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, I'm not seeing, like, I'm not one of the people that thinks, like, everything in Classic was, like, better in Classic because it was Classic WoW. I don't think that at all. But I do believe that Classic WoW, whenever Tips was talking about psychology, whenever Classic WoW was out, I felt like it did a much better job tapping into that psychology of players in a way that current WoW is just completely disconnected with. That's what I think. In-game vanilla is boring, nothing challenging. Well, the thing is, like, if you're playing an MMO for a challenge, you're probably playing the wrong game. Like, I mean, if you want a challenge, go play a competitive shooter game or play League of Legends against other real people. Like, if you're so stressed out about being challenged and everything, you shouldn't be playing WoW. I mean, really, I'm sorry to say, or do PvP, yeah. Like, there's nothing, like, usually, like, in raiding, unless you're in, like, a top 50 world guild, raiding is more or less waiting for the dumbest person in your raid to figure it out.
True.
That's what it's about. Wait for the dumbest, biggest, stupidest idiot in your raid to figure out not to stand there. And then after he finally figures it out, then you wipe again because somebody else fucks up. But then eventually you will kill it. Vanilla dungeons took and felt more like raids than raids do now. Yeah, I think that's true. I definitely do. Is that why you're 8 of 8 mythic? No. Like, so it's because I don't want to invest that much time into the raids. I could have joined a guild that was 8 of 8 mythic by now. Yeah, sure. But why would I want to do something that isn't valuable? Why would I want to do something that doesn't matter? I don't feel compelled to join a very good guild because the rewards that I get from that are not meaningful to me. And before, I think they would be meaningful, but now they're not.
Yeah, idiot.
Yeah, I don't understand, like, that logic. I think it's just like Mythic Raiders that think that they're like special because they can do the mechanics or something. Like, there's nothing like... I've raided for a long time. Like, it's not hard. It's really not. Like, most of it is it's a teamwork issue and making sure everybody is on the same page. Anybody that thinks that raiding is, like, hard is probably stupid. Like, I don't really know what else to say. You've got to be a fucking dumbass to think that raiding is legitimately, like, hard below a top 50 world level.
Yeah, I think raiding's pretty hard.
How is it hard?
I mean, there's a lot of shit to keep track of, dude. You gotta do
like
your
what?
rotation perfectly. You gotta perform mechanics
It's like 3 buttons,
perfectly.
dude. You don't need to.
I
You
mean,
got battle reses.
no,
Like, you can fuck up like
maybe
3
for
or 4
you,
things,
but
dude.
not for everybody else, dude.
No, you can fuck up like 3 or 4
I
things.
can't even find a guild because raiding's so hard.
I don't think that's why you can't find a guild.
What?
I don't think that's why you can't find a guild. I think it's something more than that. Yeah, it's not that simple, dude.
Alright.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be more than that, man. Just to OFR, you'll get regular mythic gear anyway. Yeah, exactly, dude. What am I generalizing? Mythic rating shows how entitled you are. I've mythic rated for, like, look, let me show you something. For anybody that doesn't know, let me open up my achievements. Feats of strength. It's in raids, right? Yeah. Cutting Edge Argus, Cutting Edge Kill Jaden, Cutting Edge Helya, Gul'dan, Xavius, Blackhand, Imperator, Rodin, Garrosh Hellscream, Shah of Fear, Empress, Will of the Emperor. I have every single Cutting Edge that's ever come out. And many of these predate myself even streaming. So, like, you're not gonna say I got carried. Like, I carried for every single one of them. Give me a fucking break. Like, I didn't even stream back then. Like, why would they have carried me? It would make no sense. Cutting Edge doesn't mean shit. Then what does?
Nah, you definitely got carried through Antorus. I mean, you barely even raided.
Yeah, I did. That's why I wasn't really counting those.
Oh, so okay. I mean,
well, yeah.
So it only counts when you like it.
No, I'm saying that raiding isn't hard. Like, it's not hard. It's time consuming. Like, that's really, what raiding is. It's time consuming, and it's a group effort. It's a group effort involvement. Like, nobody is a good, like, there's no God-given talent for being able to not stand in fire and hit your buttons in a certain order. Like, that's already predetermined, and they're going to tell you what to do. This isn't some kind of, like, a God-given, like, talent that some natural person has. No, it's just you do it a lot, and you raid 8 hours a day, and you're going to be successful at it.
Well,
like,
how about the God-given talent to avoid botanist mechanics?
My guild didn't have that.
We know.
Yeah, I do too. And that's the whole point that I'm trying to make. Like, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, all of this content and everything, it wasn't because botanist was hard. It's because my guild was shitty. Why people think time-consuming equals hard? It's because they're stupid, that's why. I mean, it's not... Like, what else really is there?